Om Shanti. This is the Avyakt Murli of 24th of March, 1982. And the title is The Specialty of Brahmin Life is Purity. Today, Bap Dada is seeing his pure children. He is seeing from each one's chart the extent to which each Brahmin soul has become pure. The specialty of Brahmins is purity. To be a Brahmin means to be a pure soul. With what instrument can you measure the extent to which you have imbibed purity? You remind everyone of the mantra, become pure. But to what extent have you put this mantra into your life according to Srimad? Life means for all time. You constantly have life, do you not? So to adopt purity means to put this thing into your life. Do you know the instrument with which to measure this? All of you know this. For you, say that purity is the mother of peace and happiness. That is, where there is purity, there is definitely the experience of peace and happiness. Check yourself on this basis. The sign of having purity in your thoughts is that your mind will constantly experience being an embodiment of peace and happiness. If your mind ever has waste thoughts, then instead of peace, there is upheaval. Because of questions such as why and what, you will not be able to experience the stage of being an embodiment of happiness, and your need to understand will constantly increase. This shouldn't happen. That should happen. This should be like this, and that should be like that. You will continue to try to solve these things. Therefore, where there is no peace, there will be no happiness. So constantly check that no type of confusion becomes an obstacle to your attaining peace and happiness. If there are the questions, why and what, then your mind can have no power of concentration. Where there is no concentration, there can be no experience of peace and happiness. According to the present time, you should be coming close to the angelic stage and the stage of being equal to the Father. Therefore, according to this, you must understand the definition of purity is extremely subtle. Complete purity isn't just to be celibate, but together with being celibate, you must also be someone who follows Father Brahma as well. You must be one who follows Father Shiva and also one who follows Father Brahma too. To place your footsteps in his steps means to place your footsteps in the steps of every actions he performed. This is known as being one who follows Father Brahma. Therefore, check in a very subtle way whether you have attained constant purity and whether you do experience peace and happiness. Do you constantly rest comfortably on the bed of happiness? That is, do you remain an embodiment of peace? This is the picture of the one who follows Father Brahma. For someone who constantly rests on the bed of happiness, the vices become a canopy of protection. That enemy changes into a server. You have seen your picture, have you not? So it is not a bed of snakes, but a bed of happiness. The sign of constant happiness and peace is to remain constantly cheerful. The form of a very clear soul is constant cheerfulness. You never see a confused soul cheerful. His face will always be that of someone lost, whereas the other will have a face showing that he has attained something. When you lose something, the sign of that is why and what, how, etc. Anyone who loses his purity of the spiritual state also has the confusion of why, what, and how inside him. Therefore, do you understand how you have to check yourself? Check the purity of your mind on the basis of being an embodiment of the attainment of peace and happiness. Secondly, if other souls don't experience peace and happiness through your mind, that is, if the impact of your pure thoughts does not reach others, then check the reason for that. If you imbibe the slightest weakness of other souls, that is, if you imbibe any impurity in your mind, then that impurity will not allow other souls to experience peace and happiness. There will either be wasteful or impure feelings towards another soul, or your own mind will lack a percentage of the power of purity. Due to this, there will be no impact of your attainment of purity on others. It will reach only you and not others. You become a light, but not a searchlight. Therefore, the definition of the perfection in purity is for oneself to be the constant embodiment of peace and happiness, and also enable others to experience the attainment of peace and happiness. On the basis of this attainment, such pure souls will constantly spread rays of happiness, peace, and coolness. So do you understand what complete purity is? The power of purity is so great that with your pure thoughts, that is, with your pure attitude, you are able to transform matter. The practical proof of the power of pure thoughts is the transformation of matter. The transformation of matter is done through self-transformation. People become matter, so there is transformation of people and also of matter. There is so much impact from the power of purity in thoughts. Today, you were told very clearly of the power of purity in thoughts. Later, you will be told the definition of purity in words and actions. That is, the definition of complete purity in relationships and connections. What will you have become if your percentage of purity is 14 celestial degrees instead of 16 celestial degrees? If you don't have 16 celestial degrees purity, that is, if there isn't complete purity, then how could there be the attainments of the facilities of complete peace and happiness? As the age changes, so too does the praise. One is called Satopradhan and the next is called Sato. The Sun dynasty is the perfect stage. 16 celestial degrees means the full stage. To be complete in every virtue, that is, to attain the full stage, is the sign of the Sun dynasty. Therefore, you have to become full in this aspect too. If you are sometimes on the bed of happiness and sometimes on the bed of confusion, that is not called being complete. It means that sometimes there is the tilak of the bindi point, and sometimes there is the tilak of questions. The tilak means awareness. Constantly apply the tilak of the three dots. The tilak of three dots is the complete stage. Do you not know how to apply this? You do know how to apply it, but sometimes the hand of attention shakes. You are amused at yourself, are you not? When you have a powerful aim, you easily have total qualifications. You are liberated from making efforts. When you are weak, you have to make more efforts. Become an embodiment of power, and all your efforts will be over. Acha? To the souls who have constantly attained all rights of success is their birthright. To those who experience and enable others to experience peace and happiness through their constant and perfect purity, to those who use the instrument of experience and who put the experience of the mantra, be pure, into the life of others, to those who remain stable in the experience of complete purity, peace, and happiness, to those who are as angelic as the Father, Bapdada's love, remembrance, and Namaste. Didi taking leave from Bapdada to go to the opening of the Delhi Mela. You are going to make everyone fly, are you not? You are going to make everyone fly in remembrance, love, and cooperation. These are byplots in the drama. Therefore, it is good that the soul has become a plane. Just as it is not difficult to come and go by plane, so too the soul has become a flying bird. This is why it is easy to come and go. This too is a hero part in the drama, to give others a lot of experience in a short time. Therefore, you are going to play this hero part. Acha, give remembrance to everyone and constantly continue to move forward by having the pure thought of becoming the embodiment of success. Come back having made everyone the embodiment of this awareness. The sound is yet still to emerge in Delhi. Everyone's mics has to reach Delhi. When the sound emerges from the government, the finale will take place. Then the politicians of Bharat will wake up. You are going to make preparations for that. Are you not? Acha. Bapdada meeting groups. 1. True spiritual roses are those who constantly spread the fragrance of spirituality. Are all of you children true spiritual roses who constantly maintain spiritual intoxication? Roses are very popular. Similarly, you souls are spiritual roses. To be a spiritual rose means to be someone who spreads the fragrance of spirituality everywhere. Do you consider yourselves to be spiritual roses like this? The spirituality of a spiritual rose is constantly to see the Spirit and constantly to converse with the Master of Spirit. While constantly seeing the body, you made firm the lesson of seeing the soul, the Spirit. Did you not? By having the practice of seeing the Spirit, you have become spiritual roses. You are special flowers in the Father's garden because you are number one spiritual roses. You are those who constantly stay in remembrance of one. That is, you constantly have the aim of claiming number one. 2. Have the aim of making the atmosphere powerful, and you will be able to see signs of growth in service. Just as the atmosphere of a temple pulls you from a distance, so too the atmosphere of the fragrance of remembrance should be that of a special place, such that it attracts souls from a distance. Constantly progress with the power of remembrance. Together with this, also make the atmosphere powerful. The atmosphere of your center should be such that all souls are pulled to come. Service isn't only done through words, you must also serve through your mind. Each one of you should consider yourself to be responsible for making the atmosphere powerful. When you have this aim, you will be able to see signs of growth in service. It is certain that everyone has to come. Some come directly, and others come after having toured and stumbled around. This is why each of you must think that you should become such an ignited lamp that the moths will automatically come. When you sit as an ignited light, the moths will come by themselves. 3. Spend plenty of time serving the souls who have time, and there will be success in service. You have to make a little effort to serve those souls who are in the stage of retirement or who have retired. They will not come simply by your sending them cards. You have to spend a lot of time in serving those who have plenty of time, because they are in the stage of retirement. They consider themselves to be experienced. They have pride in their experience. This is why you have to spend a little more time in serving them. Your way of serving them should be with friendship and love, not explaining to them. Meet them in friendship. Don't explain to them with the tone that they don't know these things, but you do. Share your experiences. Listen to them, and they will feel that you are giving them regard. In order to bring others close, speak to them about their specialties and then relate your experiences to them and bring them close. When you just tell them to do the course and listen to knowledge, they won't listen. Therefore, relate your experiences. Present to Bapdada a bouquet of those in the stage of retirement. Invite them with friendship and make them cooperate. 4. Become humble and the task of the new creation will progress. Do you constantly move along while considering yourselves to be the decoration of service and instruments for service? What is the main specialty of a server? To be a server means to be someone who brings about the new creation and who always remains humble. You are those who bring about the new creation and remain humble. Humility is the way to have success in service. By being humble, you will always remain light in service. When there is no humility, but you have a desire for respect, there will be a burden. Those with a burden always come to a standstill. They're unable to move fast. This is why lightness is the indication of whether you are humble or not. If you experience any type of burden, then you can understand that there isn't humility. 5. A true spiritual server is someone who experiences all relationships with the Father and enables others to do the same. Do you experience all your relationships to be with the Father and that the Father is constantly present in front of you? Do you experience, I eat with you, I sit with you, I listen to you? Now that the Father has become your true friend, there is no need to make anyone else your special friend. Bapdada is constantly ever present and personally in front of you in whatever relationship you want. To be a teacher means to be one who experiences the sweetness of all relationships with the Father. Such a soul is called a true server. If you yourself have experienced this, you should be able to give the same experience to others. If instrument souls lack some sweetness, that would also be lacking in souls that come to them. Therefore, experience the sweetness of all relationships and enable others to do the same. Blessing, may you be filled with the treasure of happiness and finish all your stock of wasteful matters with your stage of spirituality. Finish the stock of wasteful matters with your stage of spirituality. Otherwise, by speaking of weaknesses of one another, you will continue to spread germs of disease. The atmosphere will not become powerful by doing that. Many souls with various motives will come to you, but they should only take away with them good wishes from you. This will only happen when you have accumulated a stock of happiness. If you keep anything wasteful about someone in your heart, then by having such a thing, it means that instead of the Father being there, there would be sin. Slogan: in order to give a current of power, accumulate a stock of imperishable happiness, peace, and true love. Om Shanti.